Spartans! What is your profession? How? Let's escape this city. Let's get out of here. Let's go for a march. Yeah, what's up? What's poppin'? People, it's Dante, filming with the GoPro Mini, 1080p, 30 FPS, exported to 720p for that crispy HD, small file size quality. And today we're gonna be doing some photography ASMR along the Schuylkill River. Just starting my morning off here with a view of the SEPTA train passing by. Watch it with all its glory, moving along. Bye, Mom. She's taking the train. Yeah, so today I'm just going for my morning walk, and you know what's amazing about these morning walks is it's like my challenge is like, how many photos can you make before the day even begins? Well, the light that's reflecting in the morning here against this building is insane. That Pico building, that big glacier, that big geometric mess. Yeah, it's like, how many photos can you make before the day begins? How much can you articulate? How much can you see? How much can you put together before the day starts? You know, I think snapshotting your way through life is just a good way forward. I mean, honestly, it's like how to remain curious, how to remain inspired to continuously photograph each and every day. Yeah, just embrace being an amateur, embrace the amateur mindset. You know, each day, just going out, just seeing what's going on, and yeah, just photographing your way through it all. I mean, the more that I think about it, letting go of the outcome, detaching yourself from the outcome itself, it's probably the most wise bit of advice that I can give to anybody that's looking to make photographs, to anyone that's interested in street photography. Yeah, just forget about the pictures. Just go out there and do the thing. Like, honestly, that's probably the best piece of advice I can think of. It's like, photography, you know, it requires this passage of time. You know, it requires you to be out there and to do more, walk more, see more, photograph more. It's not about making perfect pictures. It's not about the results, but it's all about going out there and doing the thing itself. And so, yeah, setting your body in motion. Yeah, this is first and foremost the most critical thing. I find that I thrive outside in the unknown, in the chaos, going for long walks. And so, yeah, by setting my day up this way early in the morning, I'm able to produce, you know, a quick photo essay. You know, can you make a photo essay each and every morning? Can you make a photo essay every day? You know, I think I can. And so, yeah, I think just in order to become the most prolific photographer that you can possibly be, yeah, perhaps it's wise to go digital. You know, just use a small compact digital camera that you can pack with you wherever you go. Snapshotting your way through life, making pictures in a stream of becoming, and not taking it so seriously, I think, is wise. You know, you gotta just kind of go with the flow and let life flow towards you. And yeah, just enjoy the views, you know, just enjoy what you find along the way. It's like, the whole thing with photography is we should enjoy the journey itself, you know, and the people that we meet along the way. I think interaction is an interesting topic, right? So, you know, when to interact with people, when to engage, you know, when to speak with others. Yeah, it's actually quite simple. You know, I think that as a street photographer, you oftentimes see a street photographer on the sidelines, kind of like a bystander, kind of being sneaky, you know, not so engaged with the community or the places that they're photographing. However, I learned very early on that it's a wise thing to do. It's a wise thing to ask for permission. It's actually really important to engage with other people on the street and to be open and be honest with your process. And so I'm reminded of this because just the other day, yesterday, I was walking towards Penn's Landing, 2nd and Market Street, just by Benjamin Franklin's house. I like passing by these historic areas, and I met this guy maybe about a month ago named Marlo. He was playing with a tennis racket and a tennis ball, sort of just playing by himself, you know, hitting the ball up against the wall, and he showed me how to play, and I wound up making a new friend. He was interested in like martial arts. He was, you know, showing me some moves and some kick moves and stuff. It was pretty cool. And so just yesterday I was walking back and I found him again, and I introduced myself. I was like, yo, what's up, man? You remember me? And you know, we wound up playing again. I got better at the tennis racket. You know, I was having fun. He was showing me some different techniques on how to practice with the tennis racket. And what happened was, he said, you know what? I live right down the street. I'm gonna come and show you some of my cool, you know, martial arts equipment. He had like these like ninja things, like weapons. Like he had his own like armory he was showing me. And I thought that was so cool. He had these nunchucks, these little like sais, like those like Ninja Turtle swords or whatever, and like just such cool stuff. And he was showing me some moves. Like one of the things I learned was the pivot. So like in basketball, you know, you bend your knees and you have to pivot. And the Spartans have been on my mind this morning because he reminded me of this like laconic saying, but it's not like a real one. It's from the movie 300. He was like explaining to me how you should keep your core and your midsection and that sort of line centered and away from the enemy, and keeping your foot on a pivot. And he said something along the lines of like, give them nothing but take everything. It's just so cool. Like the guys that you meet on the street, you know, 61-year-old, super strong, super buff and jacked guy with so much energy. He like put my arm in like a fucking like arm bar, was like showing me these crazy moves and shit. And it's like inspiring to me when you meet people like this, because, you know, I find that maybe I'll have that amount of energy and power when I'm 61 too. You know, if I just keep up with my fitness. You know, I think meeting people like that, you know, I've never met a 61-year-old with that much energy before, you know, and that's strong, honestly. And that's just maybe such a beautiful part about interacting with people, is the people that you know you meet, you'll never know their story and what they're interested in, and until you just try and open up. So yeah, just get the morning started. Look at that reflected light. Oh yeah. Can I get a morning sunrise from the glass windows? Is that how I'm gonna catch the morning sunrise today? It seems so. But yeah, so essentially I started off photographing in Baltimore seriously with the Ricoh GR2, and it was there that I learned about interacting with people, because when you're in a community where the people don't expect the photographer to be walking around and you're kind of just the only one out there with the camera, yeah, it makes sense to interact. It makes sense to ask for permission, and I kind of just integrated that within my process early on. It was something that I just had to do. It wasn't necessarily something that I did intentionally. It just sort of happened, and it happened along the basketball court in West Baltimore, which I stumbled across during the golden hour, sunset. It was beautiful, and I decided to head back there with my camera. I saw a game going on and wound up making some photographs of the scene. And you know, I just went up to the guys. I was like, yo, can I make some photos? You guys have such a cool vibe going on, whatever. Just made some pictures. Didn't really think too much about it in the moment. I just set my Ricoh into P mode. I was just learning how to use the camera. And honestly, one of the photos I made there wound up being one of my best shots of all time. And was one of the first photographs that I made that was successful. And all the sort of stars aligned. I kind of just followed my intuition to make the composition. And then I turned, there was like gambling going on, a street fight broke out, I made some pictures, and then I got out of there, you know, like it was just like a wild experience, and I was thrilled. I had so much energy and courage after that. And so because I asked for permission and then wound up photographing such a beautiful scene, followed by an insane event like a street fight, it just filled my courage up. and I felt fearless from there. I think like when you start off that way, yeah, you kind of just learn early on that when you have a camera and you just go forward into the chaos, it's almost like you float through life on a feather bed and nothing can really stop you. Like, it becomes this superpower where, you know, I found myself in a lot of different situations along the front lines of life. You know, I was quite literally on the front lines in the West Bank, photographing along the checkpoints in major Palestinian cities such as Calandia and Jericho, and, you know, being shot at, ducking for cover, making photos. And during these situations, I mean, I had lots of anxiety. I was pretty damn nervous, but there's something about when you have a camera in hand, it becomes like a shield. It becomes like a sword, you know, where we wield the camera as a sword, striking through the heart of chaos, revealing the soul of the street to create visual order and harmony through the spontaneity of everyday life. You know, it's like we are not merely photographers, but we are warriors. And I think to conquer the streets, to conquer your domain, to conquer the world through the medium, yeah, perhaps this is a nice approach and a nice thought. I think to affirm life, to uplift yourself, to feel strong and powerful while photographing, it is just a nice thing. I don't know, I mean, I think that the trend towards like this like sort of like emo kind of like aesthetic within photography, kind of like depressing, like taking pictures of old cars and just like boring portraits and shit, it's like, I think a lot of that stuff is just a reflection of the photographer's soul. And so while we are revealing the soul of the street, we are also revealing our souls through the medium. And I think that is also important to consider, right? We are not only photographing what we see, but what we see and what we photograph, you know, it's a reflection of how we feel. And I think that may be something to unpack here, right? So when I'm on the street and I'm looking at life, you know, I'm looking at life, right? I'm not looking at photographs. I feel the streets, I smell the streets, I articulate the streets with my camera, and in turn revealing my soul. And so because of that, you know, the photographs that we create become this really meaningful, life-affirming, beautiful, sublime thing where you feel bliss, you feel this amazing sensation through moving your body in the world, recognizing the patterns in nature, human behavior, and understanding light, shadow, and the way that light etches and shapes form into life, right? The light itself gives form to objects, places, people, faces, and all of the different things that you're photographing, these gradual nuances and changes over time through the way that light casts upon surface becomes magic, and the world being our canvas to draw upon, it is quite literally endless. Similarly to this stream, we should make photographs in a stream of becoming, embracing chaos and change, ever flowing onto the next one, right? Where the next photo you make is your best photograph, and to not get caught up in yesterday, but to think about tomorrow and to onward, you know? Maybe like the water flowing, so should we. And recognizing that because we paint with light, and because the medium is essentially painting with light, right? Using light and capturing it and making things with light, making photographs, making images, it's just endless. Like, I can't help but to feel so inspired through the medium, because you can go out there, I can go out there every single day and walk this same lane, this same mundane lane, but still find something to uplift in a photograph, right? Where I can make a photograph of this same river, of this same scene, of this same landscape every single day. But it will never be the same. You know, you cannot make the same photograph twice. And recognizing that, oh, there we go, I can get the sunrise here. But yeah, like, recognizing that is just so incredibly empowering and fueling my lust for life, and allowing me to return to photography each and every day with this childlike sense of curiosity and exploration. You know, where I grew up, playing in the woods, building teepees with sticks and making forts, carving my own paths, using stones to build bridges, you know, articulating the unknown through my exploration in the woods. And I find that each and every day, with my eyes wide open, waking up, I feel this urge and this almost responsibility to go out and to make pictures and to explore endlessly, where the world is open and there is so much to see and so much to do. All you have to do is look outside your window. You know, when I look outside my window, I see a big playground for me to go and explore. And, you know, maybe treating life like a video game, where in these open world video games, you know, there's endless opportunity for you to do new things. There's so much out there to do in these games. It's fun. You know, you can interact with all these different players in the game. Maybe when you're out on the street, you know, don't shy away from those interactions. Don't shy away from those side quests and those stories that can unfold, because you really never know where it will lead you. And I find that the camera, it's almost just like this passport. It's this key. It unlocks the doors that, you know, you otherwise would never find or never open. And, you know, I can't help but to share this joy that photography has brought me with you, because, you know, throughout all of my experiences, the camera has always been there with me. And I know that without it, perhaps I otherwise would never have had these experiences, right? So there is something special about the camera. The camera as a passport, you know, the camera is the excuse. The camera is that excuse to go out there and to just see what's going on, to just be a sort of flaneur in your hometown. But you are not only the bystander, you're an active participant in the drama that unfolds upon the stage being the street. You know, and the actors dancing upon the concrete watch as their feet dance upon the street. And you too participate in this dance, where the camera is not only the key and the passport, but it's an extension of your hand. It's an extension of your vision, of your sight, and you must see with clairvoyance. You must see and perceive things with this sharp visual acuity, where your intuition is what's creating the composition. You know, all these basic notions about leading lines, foreground, middle ground, background, layering, blah, 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 you name it. To be honest with you, I say throw these things all out the window and really hone in on your gut instincts and follow that gut feeling that you get when you press the shutter, because that is ultimately what determines the composition. And so practically, when I'm walking and I'm going from my photo walks and stuff, I don't have any food in my belly. You know, I have this clear connection between my mind, my body, my mind, and my gut while I am fasted, eating one meal a day. And there is something to say about this, really, because when you're fasted, you have such sharp attention, sharp visual acuity. You know, I'm responding quickly, and I am, you know, looking ahead of me, looking behind me. I'm aware and perceiving the world around me and responding quickly with efficiency. And I'm not, you know, while I'm walking slow and letting life flow towards me, I'm responding very intuitively. And I think that this is key. I do. Look at the light, man. Beautiful morning. Wow. Yeah, I like using the Ricoh because I can hold the camera like this. I'm using my middle finger on the shutter. You know, the shutter is unique. It's like a pill shape. And so I can articulate the camera itself, where it really is the closest thing to not having a camera. And it's the closest thing to having an extension to your body, to your arm, to your hand, where you forget that it's even there. And the way that you handle this camera specifically, it's unlike any other camera I've used in the past. And what is so great about it is the way that you can play with it, you know, where I can put the camera up high, down low. I can go from horizontal to vertical very quickly. You know, I've seen people use it with the touchscreen on the back, and you can do so many different things with it. But really, the camera itself, it doesn't really matter. The point is you want something that doesn't feel like it's there. And to be quite frank, the Ricoh is the only one that does this. So yeah, maybe in terms of gear, I'm not too much of like a gear nerd or whatever. I only just want the camera to do the thing. And the problem I've had in the past with the Fuji, I used the X Pro 2 and 3 is, you know, what's funny is the 2 was fine. You know, that shit was robust. Then I got the 3, that shit broke down on me 3 different times. I had to send it back and get it repaired and this and that. And yeah, there just came this point where I'm like, you know what? I've gotten all the juice I needed out of this process, out of this camera system, out of this way of working, and I'm now on to the next project. I'm now on to the life project, you know, where I'm very quick to change. I like chaos. I like to just explore and to create anew. So maybe in order to create anew, you must destroy in order to rebuild and to create anew again. So yeah, destroying my past process, my past way of working, and now embracing the new digital technology, the compact digital camera. You know, this is perhaps the best setup in terms of gear and equipment. But yeah, like I said, I'm really not that big of a gear nerd. I just wanted to do the thing. I've never been into gear. I just know that this is the way that makes the most sense to me. So yeah, Ricoh, if you're watching this, make a Ricoh rugged. Just combine the GoPro technology with the Ricoh, and yeah, just make it so that it shoots the high contrast black and whites, and I can throw it underwater. That'll be cool. I want to be able to throw my Ricoh underwater. That's the only thing. But yeah, yeah, like I would love to shoot this camera underwater. Look at the... That's what's amazing about these walks is I noticed the changes, like they've chopped down some of these trees, I believe, you know, or some of the branches, and you know, just making photos of whatever you see, I think it's important, right? So like, you shouldn't be so decisive, you know, like when you're photographing, don't look for certain things or themes or projects and places or whatever. Like, you should be able to make sense of the chaos. You should be able to look at life in front of you and affirm it and to articulate it, you know. I think that is actually important to sort of mention. It's like, you must embrace the mundane. You should be able to make pictures of anything. And yeah, nature walks, the Vibram 5-finger ELX, these are the knit version. You get little bits of leaves stuck in between your toes, but it does feel nice on these sort of like off the grid dirt paths. You know, I think that starting the day off with these sort of nature walks, surrounded by trees, water, you know, the sound of the birds, and getting out here earlier than other people, you know, where there's less people. It's more so just you and the street, or you and the path. Just finding yourself in your own space, just enjoying nature. I like plucking things. I like destroying nature too, which is funny. I just like feeling all these different things. Like, what is in there? Are these like the seeds? This was gonna sprout and to become flowers, and I just destroyed the flowers. But yeah. There's the sunrise. Yeah, I think there's something about the sunrise. There's something about just getting up early, just getting yourself to bed early. You know, where I go to bed super early. The sun is setting around 7:30, 7 o'clock, I'd say, 7 p.m. And so because of that, I've been going to bed at like 8:30. I'm falling asleep, which is good, because then I wake up early. I get to do some like creative writing and thinking in the morning, take a hot bath, and then just head out. You know, it's like once the sun starts to rise and I see some light, I'm like, all right, let's get out there. You know, I do not like the dark.
Yeah, I don't know about our odds either, to be honest. You know, we'll
you know, when you're a kid, you're afraid of the dark. You don't want to go into the basement. You know, the radiator's gonna eat you alive or something. Yeah, maybe we must propel ourselves into the darkness as artists. We must embrace the sort of chaotic nature of life. But in terms of like practicality, yeah, I'd rather just be out when the sun's out. As soon as the sun's down, I'm like, yeah, let's go to bed. let's let's just respawn, you know. I just want to respawn into the next day. I want to see what tomorrow will offer. You know, I'm just always eager to go to sleep, you know. What is there to consume at night? You know, some reality TV, some sort of like weird YouTube video or whatever. Like, honestly, I think consuming all this like media and junk and whatever, it's like one of the worst things about this modern world. You know, like it really does suck your soul away if you start to watch like just junk. And I think that's what a lot of this stuff is on social media and Netflix and everything. It's just junk. It's the same as like junk food. So yeah, I think finding things like photography, you know, if you're a creative person, if you like to make things, yeah, it's just a way to create your own media, your own art, your own thing, to produce more than you consume. You know, I think this is actually just a really wise way forward. And I mean, I'm embracing this notion of being like a creative barbarian. I'm not making anything perfect. I really don't care about, you know, making like work that becomes famous or like get me views and money and whatever. I make videos, I make photos, I do these things because I genuinely enjoy it, and it's just for me and maybe one other person that enjoys it. You know, the only person that has my prints is my mom. Like, that's the only person that really needs them. I mean, I'll make some and whatever, but I really don't care too much about it. It's like it's funny, it's like, speak to the old school photographers, the only bit of advice they ever give you is make sure you make prints. It's like, bring them to New York. It's like, dude, what doesn't exist? Like I think the gallery's dead. Like these old school notions of the book, the print, and all this stuff, it's really boring and basic at best. Really, really, really boring and basic. It's like, we gotta get with the times, you know, like move on. And that's just my thought though. So beautiful, this tree. Like, how did they trim that into the perfect, you know, like shape? It's so nice, really. Yeah, and the other thing is starting your day at an elevated view, caution, steep slope ahead. You know, there really is something about it. Yeah, see, that's the thing I plucked. There's so many of these. I wonder if these are flowers. Yeah, they must be. Yeah, they're flowers. Wow, there's so many here. Okay, so yeah, they're definitely flowers. Look at these cobblestone, or whatever, these kind of stone walls. This railing, how intricate the detail is. But yeah, there's something about going on these little hikes away from the hustle and bustle. It's like, if you have the opportunity, if you have a place like this, definitely start off your day like this, because just throwing yourself into the city, into the chaos, on the grid, you feel like a little rat stuck in a cage. Like, you can't see out, you can't see anything. It's like you're just looking at tall looming buildings and people with AirPods and sunglasses walking with their little backpacks to the office. It's like, there's nothing really going on, and it's like, it's just kind of stuck in this like weird maze. But to get away from that, like whatever that is that's going on over there, yeah, it's better to just start your day off here, come up, look out at the horizon, you know, remind yourself that this world is open to explore, that the paths are endless. And yeah, with photography, it's eternal and infinite, endless. That opportunity to go out each day and to make a new photograph is what keeps me going. I love seeing this flickering light every day. Hello, flickering light. This is my best friend. Yeah, I think when you become familiar with your surroundings, when you become in tune with the rhythm and the beat of everyday life, and your intuition sort of just guides you. Man, it's just pure bliss. Look at these, the wah-wah birds flying in the sky. The wah-wah hoagie creates my thunder thighs. One thing I like to do is like, it's like, you're not, it's like, these are for sitting. Okay, let's stand on it, you know? But yeah, no, honestly, it's like, you just get cooler views. It's like, when you get up higher, it's like, I can actually fit, see, like, I can put that little sculpture, statue, or whatever at the top, in a frame. And it's like, you can't get these kind of shots from these kind of angles with those other, like, rangefinder, like, whatever, boring cameras. Oh, and create your own Rocky movie. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, just come to an elevated surface and you feel like you can transcend, go beyond, and conquer the world. Maybe we can make a new world. Perhaps through the medium of photography, we create our own world. By abstracting the mundane life around us, we elevate the world and create our own. Maybe the point of photography is to elevate the human experience to new heights. Wow, that squirrel is climbing upside down. Hey, squirrely. I want to bring some peanuts. What do squirrels eat? Acorns? Man, I remember when I was a kid in my neighborhood with my friends, we would climb in the trees, and I don't know how this started. I think like some of the trees in my neighborhood, they had so many acorns just falling out of them at one point. Like they would dent cars, I feel like. I remember. Oh, this is a great sunrise. Just a little bit diffused, but it's perfect. It's still perfect to me. But yeah, I remember there would be so many acorns, and yeah, we would climb in the trees. We would gather like buckets of acorns and have acorn fights. Like we would throw them around, just like set up on one side of the street and then other people on the other side of the street, and be like two teams, or even just like free for all and just like pelt each other with acorns, you know. Just make up your own fun games and ways to play. I used to love climbing trees. Wow, it's just such a peaceful morning. I kind of just want to do some ASMR. Just listen to the sounds. I'm not going to talk. I'll stop talking. My period of odium. Odium in the morning. You know, like I have this beautiful little paradise in Philly. You know, you think of Philly, like, oh, Philly, it's, you know, gritty and what. It's like, no, look at this. You know, like, all you have to do is go around and get the banana woods, the banana cigars. Just gotta throw these things away. You know, breathe in the oxygen. You know, we don't need any of this kind of like banana. I want to smoke the banana blunt. Yeah. I got the banana premium all natural tobacco. Somebody made a mess. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like people are just those are leaves, but like the Sprite, it's like maybe I should just oh man, there's so many ants. They really enjoy that, don't they? I shouldn't be touching any of this shit. But like there's part of me that's like, I just want to clean this place up, you know. It's like keep this, you know, peaceful. Because a lot of Philly is chaos. And also You know, I find inspiration in these beautiful sculptures. Oh yeah, there's lots of communists that are coming around and trying to promote their cause. I see them with those like funny hats on. Yeah, maybe they should just come out and play. You guys don't need to protest, guys. Just come out and play. It's okay. Yeah, so find inspiration on these like nature walks, you know. Don't look at, you know, those boring photo books and stuff, or like, I don't know. Like, I think we should find our inspiration outside, you know. It's like we're street photographers, we hit the streets, you know, like we're out here. Maybe everything that we consume in terms of like art and stuff that inspires us, you know, we should find it outside. You know, we should find it out here. And there's so many things to see, whether it's the architecture or the sculptures. And I gotta get my camera. Oh, and I'll show you some moves. Ready? So when I photograph to the left of me, sometimes I'll just quickly react with my instinct and hold the camera like this, where I just hold it and shoot with my index finger with my thumb there. And a lot of times I'm not looking, you know. If there's someone to the right of me, I'll hold it like this, shoot it with the index finger. If I want to go to horizontal or vertical, I'll use my middle finger, quickly turn it like that. There's something about the Ricoh and the way that you can maneuver it. Yeah, the technique is actually maybe important to consider. It's like everyone can like find their own little ways to use the camera. It's cool. But yeah, maybe snapshotting this sculpture from all different angles at different times of the day with different light. You know, this one's my favorite. I just love it. I think that the gesture is so powerful and cool. But yeah, maybe photographing, you know, these sort of like inanimate things like sculptures. We can give life to them through photography. And, you know, while moving your body and photographing and adjusting your body, that's how you make compositions, right? You don't make compositions from like looking at it and, you know, I gotta put this here, that there. It's like, no, just move your 2 feet, you know? Walk around the thing, move through the scene, you know? I don't leave the scene until the scene leaves me. You know, when I'm photographing, if I'm working a scene, you know, I'll be moving my body around, trying different things. You know, I'm not just sitting there one way, shooting the same way. You know, I make sure to get multiple angles to try different things. And by moving your feet, yeah, that's how you can do this. Revolutionary War heroes. When General William M. Riley of the Pennsylvania National Guard died in 1896, his will established a trust fund to create bronze monuments to Revolutionary War heroes. In 1938, when the trust fund had grown large enough, work on the memorial began. General Riley particularly wanted to honor 4 volunteers from other countries who threw themselves into the cause of emancipating the colonies from the yoke of British tyranny: Richard Montgomery, Casimir Pulaski, Friedrich von Steuben, and the Marquis de Lafayette. In celebrating them as individuals, the memorial was meant to express appreciation and gratitude to the lands which gave these liberty-loving men their birth. So I'm a fan of Marquis de Lafayette, the most celebrated of the foreign volunteers. Of course, that's why his gesture is the best. Lafayette joined Washington's force as a major general at the age of 20. The French nobleman was wounded at the Battle of Brandywine, served in the Battle of Monmouth and Rhode Island, and aided in the final campaign in Virginia. Sculptor Raoul Josset studied in the École des Beaux, how do you say these French things, in Paris. During the First World War, he worked as an interpreter for American forces in France. In the 1920s, he received awards for his war memorials throughout France. He later moved to the United States, settling in Dallas to work on sculpture for the 1936 Texas Continental Exposition in Fair Park. So yeah, Marquise, 1947, lived from 1899 to 1957. Yeah, that's my favorite one. Yeah, that's the statue to practice on here in Philly. So yeah, if you want to get your practice in, yeah, make pictures of the Mr. Marquise. That's who we're gonna hit. I want to see just like, I want to make so many pictures of that statue and just have variations over time, you know, like how many photos can I make of that same statue and make it different, you know. I think these kind of things is what sparks my creative thriving, you know, where I'm just embracing that sort of mundane. Azalea Garden, this is beautiful. Look at this. I gotta do some just like nature tours of Philly. Like this is like the Philadelphia Museum of Art is beautiful. Like in terms of the architecture, the building itself, you know, the stairs in the back and the front, but like all these different like nature paths, and like there's another cool sculpture back there. Like this is the place. Like looks like they're gonna have the parks on tap over here this year. They usually have it on the other side. I actually think that this is a way better. I mean, yeah, you know what? Maybe this is better. I don't know. We'll see. This is like a little outdoor like bar kind of like thing. They have like hammocks and benches and food here. Always some great activity back here in the summertime in Philly. It's like this is the best. I don't know. I always get like tossed up between the Schuylkill River and Penn's Landing. I think because Penn's Landing is undergoing construction. Yeah, this certainly takes first place in terms of the most beautiful place in the city, in my opinion, just around this museum. And also like within Fairmount Park, the Belmont Plateau, just any of these like green and natural spaces, it really highlights Philadelphia's beauty. And there's a reason why all of these tourists come here. It's just objectively beautiful. And so I find myself as a local who's been born and raised in Philadelphia returning to that sort of tourists like mindset each and every day, where I love Old City. Like I love Independence Hall, you know, like the history of Philadelphia. I didn't read that. I've never read that plaque before, you know. It's like I love reading these different signs and learning about history. And yeah, perhaps it's just a nice way to learn, is just through exploring the streets. Flower petals. And yeah, I think that just going out there and like learning on the street, it's nice. Hey, look, I found a golf ball. Did somebody play golf back here? Yeah, maybe articulating the or taking things and playing with things while you're walking is nice. It's like just pick things up, touch things. You know, the great thing about this art outside is, you know, you can sort of touch it, you can feel it, you can understand the texture. You know, it's like much more engaging to come out and to look at sculptures, to look at architecture, and to revel in its beauty. It's like these little sculptures here are so nice around this object. This fountain, I believe. Yeah, it's like a bird bath. Looks like a bird bath. It's just so nice, and I've never gotten up and close and personal to this before. And you know, I really think that each day you go out, it's nice to embrace, like, I guess like the novelty of photography, where with photography you can embrace something new each day. See, this is the nice one where he's looking back. I like this. So you can just get down low, like get on your knees, get close to things. You know, when you walk around and just remain curious like a child, yeah, that's how you can enhance your everyday life. And yeah, maybe happiness, how to be happy. Super simple. I find that when I'm inside, my soul slowly dies, but when I'm outside photographing, moving my physical body, I exist outside the passage of time and I thrive. You know, where when you're walking through life, you're merely existing in the now, and you're not just a zombie like this little stencil, but you're fully engaged with all of your senses, auditory, sensual, right? You're touching things, you're feeling the street, you're smelling the street, and you become one with the street, one with the environment, one with the universe, one with your camera. And that connection is where bliss is, and that's where happiness is. It's outside, it's physical, it's getting the maximum amount of sun, it's buying more Bitcoin, like this cool sticker here. And yeah, I think sunlight's interesting, right? Like there's lots of controversy around sunlight for some reason, one or the other. And I found that, you know, just the other day, you know, I was walking through the park and I just stood still in the sunlight, you know, took my shirt off. I was like, let me tan here. This is like perfect sun, perfect spot, whatever. And this guy was like walking by with like a sunglasses and hat on. He's like, yo man, you better put on like sunglasses, you know, like you're gonna get skin cancer or something. I was like, dude, what? This guy had like full like big beard and like everything like masked up and like pale skin, but meanwhile I'm just like basking and just feels so nice. And it's like, I don't know, like if it gives you cancer, I'll take it. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's like, my theory is UV radiation is good for you. I feel good with it. I feel that it gives me power and it makes me feel great. Maybe we're being led astray. Maybe, you know, threats of skin cancer and the sun being bad. Maybe it's just some like new thing. Like, I don't think spending all of your day indoors is good for your health. Okay, so I just found this trail. I've always known it's here. I've just personally never taken it, and now I'm here. And yeah, I went on this walk with my mom yesterday, and it's just super nice. Check it out. It's like an urban trail, you know, because you got the Kelly Drive. The boathouses over there are beautiful, but you know, if you come up here, you can kind of get away from the chaos of the city. Just a nice little nature path, just a stone throw away. Look at that sunrise, you know, get those beautiful UV rays in your eyes. Start setting your circadian rhythm, your natural biological clock, where I wake up before the sunrise and go to sleep with the sunset on repeat, because I'm not a slave to time. I know that the sun is what sets your body. And so harnessing the power of the sun is perhaps the most critical thing we can do. Like maybe walking isn't even as, it's not even as important as just simply getting like UV radiation, just getting sunlight. Like maybe sun exposure is more important than even just like walking, where maybe you can just stand in this and just like bask in the sun, and that's good enough. Like my thought is this, your body, it's like a battery, and ooh, I like that in between. Here comes the sun, doo 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 doo. Here comes the sun, and I say, yeah, so your body's like a battery. It needs to be charged. Perhaps the sun is like the charger, and you got to plug yourself into the charger every day to get your body going. So yeah, for me, the sun is power, and food is energy. So while I am fasted throughout the day, my body is satiated and filled with energy because I consume lots of red meat, which also helps with getting good sleep, in turn giving you more power and energy. But food and the foods you consume are perhaps really critical to consider in this modern world, where a lot of the stuff is processed junk. You know, like, think of Trader Joe's, like everything's like frozen junk food and like these like weird snack foods, and there's really nothing in there that's good for you. But perhaps, you know, I do just 100% red meat, beef and lamb, and it's really good. I feel like each and every day I'm just getting 1% stronger and just feeling better and better. And it's honestly kind of crazy, the radical change it's made in my life over a year and a half now of doing carnivore. But even just animal, oh my God, that squirrel just fucking fell. Man, look at this beautiful, wow. Yeah, so maybe even just like animal based, you know, like I've been eating eggs as well, just free range eggs. Like the free range eggs, maybe humans too should be free range. You know, we spend all this money on this free range product, these free range eggs. You know, my thought is why not treat our bodies that way? Why not roam free and move your body out openly, you know, and not shackle yourself inside, you know? Maybe we should be like the free range chickens, the free range eggs. But you are what you eat, and perhaps chicken being this little animal, you know, you don't want to be a little chicken shit. You don't want to be a little chicken. You want to be a bison. You want the power of a ox, you know? I want the power of 1,000 oxen. So yeah, perhaps like thinking about the animal that you're consuming, like, oh yeah, that looks like a strong animal, I'm gonna eat that. You know, chicken, it doesn't taste like meat. You know, chicken, it doesn't taste good to me. It doesn't taste the same. It's like the redder the better. Lamb leg from Costco is nice. I throw it in a slow cooker and I really enjoy eating that. That's what I'm gonna have today when I go back. I'm gonna throw it in and just have it ready for me in the evening to eat. It's nice, simple workflow. And yeah, sometimes I'll have that, but most days red meat. And yeah, it's really great. I think the goal ultimately is to increase our power. So again, considering the body as this battery, considering sunlight, sleep, and meat, this is the trifecta. This is where we can get the most out of life and our vitality. Yeah, so yeah, I want to be like my boy Marlo over at 2nd and Market Street yesterday with the tennis racket. You know, I want to be like him. I want to I want to be 61 and have guns, and not real guns, but you know what I mean, like muscles, and and you know, strong and filled with power and energy. So many squirrels this morning. But yeah, I think guns, you know, while he was showing me some cool martial arts moves and like hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff, like that should maybe be brought back. Like I wish I had some sort of training with hand-to-hand combat when I was younger. You know, I think that should just be like a mandatory thing in like school. Like maybe there should be some sort of like training in schools to help people with defense, because nowadays with all these like guns and, oh man, this is so beautiful. I love doing these little National Geographic walks in the morning. Let me get low. Yeah, like with the military, it's like they're kind of just using all this modern tech now, which, I mean, it's like obvious, like, of course, but I don't know if that's a good thing, because you know, what happens is there's a disconnect between you and the enemy, or you and the people you're fighting against, whatever, and you're kind of just like using this like Xbox controller basically, and bombing countries and citizens and innocent people, and it's like, that's not good. You might just have this sort of disconnect that It's just not good. So maybe hand-to-hand combat is better. I was just looking at that truck. It's just weird. But yeah, this is such a beautiful start to the day. Coming out into nature. This trail keeps going. I'm gonna see, like, there's so many different paths you can take. So it seems yesterday I went back down from here. There's another pavilion. Like, yesterday was the first time I've ever come to this pavilion. Like, there's so much, like, Philly is actually such a big city. So much to explore, so much to see. And yeah, just check this out. How beautiful is this? Watch, you're gonna see a rower coming by. They're practicing in the morning. Right there, in between the trees. 2 rowers. Big sport here in Philadelphia. In the summertime, you'll see lots of races along this river here at the Schuylkill, and this street closes down, no cars pass by, and they open up all these tents, and different schools come and compete. And you know, what's weird about, and I love biking up and watching the regattas, but yeah, there's something about like these, like the glass that you find all along this trail. It's like, it's just sad. It's like, why do people just smash beer bottles on the ground? Can they just throw it away? Like, because I'm wearing the barefoot shoes, it's like much more, like, I don't know. I mean, there is like a sole that's thin enough or thick enough that it will probably stop it, but like, yeah, I don't want to cut myself. It's like there's so many glass shards on this trail. But yeah, check it out. The trail continues. You just keep going onward. You know, we have the Wissahickon. That's where I grew up playing in the woods, and it's a really big forest. It's really big, an amazing forest. It's even a condo. It's gross. And so this is the closest thing that you can get to that, it seems, in the center city area, right? Like, this is kind of like the Wissahickon trails. I guess the good thing about the Wissahickon trails is, yeah, there's less like chaos and all this like trash in the ground and stuff, but yeah, this is still good. It seems that there's always a trail that cuts up towards the, wow, look at this, to the park over there. Yeah, I just set my camera into snap focus infinity, and I do usually just use the AV mode or the P mode, primarily the AV mode, because I like f8. I just set the aperture and just click the button, and then I have the FN button set to the single point autofocus, so if I want to get close to something I can, and then up on the D-pad is what enables the macro mode, and if I go macro mode, I'll go P mode. Get that bokeh. Isn't that the best? Bokeh is the best. I just wanted to document this full walk here. It's just very nice, and showcase that, yeah, you can just photograph anything everywhere. Just have fun with it. Like, for me, photography should be fun. It shouldn't feel like a chore or a burden, and that's why I have problems with the big cameras, because it feels that way when you have to lug it around and do this whole thing. It's like, just simplifying the process for yourself, it's really wise. Wow. Sunrise, sunrise, the grand rising. Get the sun in your eyes. Kind of just want to pop out and get the sunlight, but yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll go out, I'll get the sun, and this trail keeps going, but I'm just gonna go stand in the sun, just chill. I'm just gonna stand in the sun for a bit. I'm gonna take my shirt off, relax at this park, and yeah, just start my day off on a good note. Off the grid, baby. We off the grid. You know, I don't want to be confined to these grids. I don't want to be stuck in that little rat cage in a city trying to like find my way around these streets, you know, with these tall buildings everywhere. It's like, check it out. There's open spaces. There's new terrain to conquer out here. And so, yeah, with that, I'll probably go. Beautiful walk. Yeah, just time to take the shirt off. Yeah, you got a great view. Just peace. That's all this is. It's just pure peace. Peace amongst the chaos. Go off the grid.